All right, we are live. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. I have some really special guests. I have the CEO of YOM Token, as well as another team member here, Jeff, who is also a part of YOM team. So I'm super excited to dive into YOM technology with them. One thing that I'm really looking forward to is the some of these hybrid that I'm seeing, some of these hybrid narratives that are coming out. And I think one major intersection that we need to be keeping an eye on is anything that has something to do with DePIN technologies, because I think that is going to be a major narrative as we get into the next bull run. Markets are still kind of shaky, but we were ready for that, right? We have some good timing coming up over the next few months, so it is time to go and look for that alpha. So yeah, I'm super excited to dive into this technology with both Yorit and Jeff, who are going to be with us today. So we'll go ahead and start right away. Yorit, how are you doing
Yeah,
today? Big congratulations on your TGE. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate for
Did we lose Yorit?
I think we did. He froze up. He was just talking about his band,
Oh,
and he froze. I could do
hey,
my
no,
intro.
Yorit. Okay, go ahead.
He brags,
Go
but
ahead.
it turns out that the mountains of South Carolina are able to stream. So I'll give
yeah,
my
I'm back.
intro. We'll be back. There you go.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
like
okay.
very good internet here. Yeah, I was bragging about it, but
Right.
let's see. I got a disconnect. So basically, my journey started in 2016. I was graduated from university, so business informatics degree. I had a startup as well in the AI industry. AI in 2016 was very different from what it is now. And basically, what happened is because this was during my student period, I moved to join one of the investors, and I worked there for about a year in the venture capital industry, and I saw. Yeah, basically, I went to all of these crypto conferences pretty early on, just to hunt for new startups. And we were traditional VC, right? And I got very excited about what Web3 had to offer, especially Bitcoin, but then very quickly also other alts, right? So XRP, ETH, these were the things to go to back in the, well, they're still there, so that's really good. So that's how my journey started, I would say, in crypto, but that was more on the background, right? I was just trading and investing and helping VC with the investment in crypto projects. But I got a little bit bored by the investing part. So I wanted to get my hands dirty again. So I worked for about 6-7 years. I helped a lot of corporates and startups with their growth avenues. And as part of that journey, I met my initial co-founder back in the days. Was a different company, and we set up a 3D and pixel streaming service. Right, this was during COVID, where we were able basically to stream from any VR headset. That's how we started to YouTube. So it's the other way around, right? So we started from the VR headset and then we streamed to YouTube. We made a lot of money doing that during COVID because all of the events industry was completely flat. But then we basically discovered that who was making the most money out of that was Jeff Bezos. So we tried to obviously get in contact with the AWS team. Like, how do we optimize our resources? How do we optimize our cost here? But they said, yeah, basically it's very hard to scale on the GPUs. So we were thinking internally, and we were getting, we were looking at the proposition: how can we get a global fleet of GPUs that we own? Because then that's the only way to scale, that are not reliant on limited hyperscalers like enterprise GPUs that are super expensive. They were expensive back then. They're still, if not more expensive, due to the demand for AI. So led us to conclude, okay, then the next strategic asset out there is going to be GPUs. We were pretty early. This was 2021, 2022. So that's when we started thinking about how to build a protocol that would combine world's most important asset, which is trust, electricity. Of course, we had Bitcoin going on, but also GPUs, right? Because GPUs is what everything, AI, everything will be embedded in that GPU value chain, so to say. Whereas we see the GPU more like the hardware substrate that you cannot really copy, because you see a lot of different AI models from Claude, like Anthropic, OpenAI. You see the Chinese coming up with a lot of open models. So it's a very competitive space. But the GPU, the hardware underneath, look at NVIDIA, they're making a lot of money. But there's a big problem because we cannot scale up the amount of GPUs in the space, right? So that... that was basically the journey. That's what sparked the initial excitement. And then at some point at a metaverse conference, I met Andy Pringle, who is one of the co-founders and CCO of YOM. And Andy knew Jeff, right? So that's how we got together. You have to imagine, like before that, it was really about consuming centralized resources and building out the middleware, so to say. So like the whole streaming protocol. But when I met Andy and Jeff, we really started to work on the infrastructure part. So that's when we moved from just streaming technology to infrastructure, like full stack, all the vertical, all the way down, right? Where we have now solved, and we've also shown globally that we're the fastest network out there, right? Like, and that's a bold claim, like fastest network. What does that mean? Well, it means literally sending the most packages possible as fast as possible at the lowest possible latency to one other place somewhere else on the world. And you can only reach that speed if you go for a decentralized setup, because only a decentralized setup has the dispersion available to beat the physics, right? Because in the end, you can optimize on your protocol, you can optimize on the middleware, but you have to go to the physics, because that's going to be the most constraining factor. If you look at the hyperscalers, not only is the physics, right? So if I connect, let's say with a data center, because for AI or for my car or whatever, right? I need quick access to a GPU, then I need to connect all the way to Ireland, right? Which is an American-owned data center in Ireland. So it's latency, and it's basically, again, Jeff Bezos owning the substrate. So the idea being with YOM is we beat physics and we get our economic power back, right? And that is what we started to develop.
That's great, Yuri. Thank you so much. That was a pretty comprehensive intro. We'll go ahead and start with you, Jeff. Tell us a little bit about yourself and also your vision for YOM.
Yeah, I'll try to be a little briefer. But so I started off with this project. I was in games for about 26 years. I go all the way back to the GameCube and PlayStation 2. So I came from the gaming side, though I've been in crypto since about 2017. And I joined, I was taking my understanding of gaming and understanding of crypto and kind of got involved in a couple of Web3 gaming projects. And that's where I met Andy, as you mentioned. But for me, when you're introduced us to Andy and I to the technology, and we understood what it could do, knowing what I know about the gaming industry and understanding that even people like Phil Spector from Microsoft was saying that cloud gaming was going to be the future, I recognized that, I think all three of us recognized that the centralized server model was not going to scale to the growth that cloud gaming is ultimately going to grow to, which we're seeing today. They're seeing cloud gaming really kind of take off and be a major sector, because many people who don't have the hardware to play games still want to play. They just are stuck on a small phone or a low-end PC. Cloud gaming solves that problem. So when we talked about, what the original YOM company had run into, the cost problem of AWS, and then still the latency problem that there's never going to be overcome, I could see this as being the way that we change the way that games are distributed around the world to expand the player pool, allow a lot more people to play AAA quality games, at the same time, decentralized revenue. right? Allow people who have a gaming rig at home to loan us their gaming rig or sell us their GPU cycles. As you're saying, that's really the next big commodity in the world is GPU cycles. But there's no way to mine it out of all these different gaming rigs except for something like what we've built, a decentralized model. So people who have gaming rigs, when they're not using it, either they're asleep or they're up at work during the day. Most times those units are sitting idle and those GPU cycles aren't being used. Well, they can sell us those GPU cycles. We'll use them to stream games to the end user. And we have an orchestration layer that just finds the closest node to the end user, syncs those two together, which is what you're saying. That's why it's the fastest network, because we're doing it right there at the edge where the demand is.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible. I do want to dive a little bit into this topic as well, because I know there are concerns whenever we bring up, especially nowadays, when we bring up crypto gaming or Web3 gaming, it people are going to get offended because of what happened with gaming sector in crypto over the last few years. Gaming sector was actually the first one that got crushed, as you know, right, even before bear market started. So we want to make sure that people understand this is not your crypto gaming. This is an infra project. And
That's correct.
and even though crypto gaming did not do really well last bull run, it still had its ups and downs, but gaming infra actually did really good, right? So when you talk about IMX, when you talk about rendered, they were some crazy moves. And if you were positioned well early enough, then you definitely benefited from that. So gaming infra is not going anywhere. If anything, I think it's only going to get better. And so we want to make sure that YOM, when you look at YOM, you are keeping that in mind, that it is an infrastructure project. Jeff, talk to us a little bit about that, of course. And if there were any challenges as well as you were going through your fundraising rounds, because a lot of VCs right now are not really investing in gaming projects anymore. So how do you, like, where do you guys stand? What were some of the challenges? So yeah, would love for you to chime in.
Sure. It's interesting because we enjoy the sexy nature of being close to the gaming industry, but then we also have to deal with what didn't Web3 gaming die? Yes, we're an infrastructure play. We're agnostic. We host Web3 games and traditional games. We can do either. It's not really the way that it works for us is the game publishers and developers, they purchase their time on our network in regular fiat. So they don't have any kind of, if they're afraid of crypto or don't know crypto, they don't have to know it to get time on our network, which is super important for us that we did that delineation. And then the people who are operating the nanos, they are, they're the ones who are consuming the YOM tokens. They're the ones who are holding it and using it as we pay out each stream to the nano operators. So yes, it's important to recognize that this is an infrastructure play. We're tangential to gaming. We understand gaming. Many of our leadership team comes from the gaming industry. So we have connections into all these big game publishers, but we are not a game project. We're an infrastructure, a technology project that happens to use blockchain on the back end for our payment system.
Yeah. In fact, we have another partner of ours. Semi partner. We're also involved in that project, which is going to be the gaming and publisher interface. So we're actually positioning YOM more as general infrastructure for low latency GPU use cases. Now, cloud gaming obviously being a big one, but also beyond that, right? So pixel streaming is also for car configurators. If you are a big car brand and you want your users to experience a premium car on your website, or let's say in real estate, you want to do a visualization of a house, of a building, or with a generative AI, like moving around, like for all of these cases, you need very fast, low latency inferencing. Even when you're inside of a car and you need to connect, let's say with your AI at very fast speed for the car to make a decision, you want a very low latency call. So all of these are use cases on the YOM infrastructure. We have that separate entity, which is Water.gg. It's actually founded by our mascot, which is a big gorilla, which is the gaming front end, right? So there will be a smart TV app around it where people can play all of their games that they used to play on the Xbox and the PlayStation in the past. They don't need an Xbox or PlayStation gaming PC anymore. They can now just go to their smart TV and then play every game that they have in their Steam library, right? So you can play Grand Theft Auto on your television without requiring a PlayStation. And we can do that at a structural cost advantage using decentralized physical infrastructure networks, right? It's the only way to have that experience possible, because any other way is going to be structurally overpriced, because you need the power plants, you need the hardware amortization, you need the hyperscalers, enterprise GPUs, you need all of that, the whole stack. And then you also need to pay for the bandwidth. So the bandwidth is separate. That's a separate cost. And then you also have the latency, right? And the scaling problems. So with all of that combined, like, there's literally no room for hyperscalers in cloud gaming. So that's why we're undercutting all of our competitors in a way that they cannot afford to continue with their existing businesses. They have to adapt and use our infrastructure, or they have to build their own DePIN. And I think that's where we're heading towards.
Jeff, I feel like you have to chime in as well.
No, it's hard to find an area where we don't outcompete the people who are currently doing the traditional model of centralized cloud gaming. What you were saying there at the end, I think, is important. But eventually, what they're going to do is you need us at the edge. They can maybe keep their data centers for where they're close by, but ultimately, I think cost is just going to drive them out. AI is going to buy all their cycles and drive up the cost for games. So they're going to need a network on the edge like we are.
Incredible. Love that. Go ahead, Jorid.
No. Proceed. Like, next topic, because we risk also me spoiling like alpha. I was about to do it. I was about to spoil a lot of alpha in this meeting.
Yes.
But I then
we love alpha. We love alpha.
Yeah.
Well, my community is called Alpha Seedlings, and so it's a Telegram community, and that's what we are here for, is alpha, right? I'm being very cautious right now about the projects that I'm covering on my page because it is a bear market, and so it's going to continue for the next couple of months until we bottom out, and then it's going to be right. So I'm following that historical data here, and I'm being cautious. So I want to also mention something for everybody who is just tuning in. YOM is backed by some pretty big names. So we have Avalanche Foundation that's backing them. They already have a token live. It's on Avex and Kraken and a couple of other exchanges. So really awesome TGE there in a bad market. Like right now, the markets are not the best, but they were able to land some of major exchanges, so that's good. Also, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of other backers, because remember, this is a DePIN play plus an infrastructure play. So we have Borderless as one of their backers. Borderless was also main backer for some of the big DePIN projects, including Filecoin, including Helium, and quite a few others, right? So they have positioned themselves really, really well when it comes to DePIN and infrastructure. If you actually go on Borderless website, like, you'll see a lot of DeFi infrastructure DePIN, DeFi infrastructure DePIN, lots and lots of plays like that. So definitely one of the big backers of DePIN, if they can see the alpha with this particular project with YOM, I think we can all see that as well. Another major one, major VC that's backing YOM is Outlier Ventures. They were also the main backers of Hedera, Filecoin, Aptos, quite a few other big names, right? Even Polkadot. So be mindful. Near Polygon, I mean, these were all part of their portfolio. So there are some major names backing it, which is why I was very excited when I came across YOM, of course, with the infrastructure. And this is another thing too. Like, I'm going to share a little bit of an alpha here. Again, this is a personal opinion, okay? So not financial advice. Anything that we're discussing here today is not financial advice. Just here for fun purposes, educational purposes, going over some really awesome tech. But one thing that I want to really bring up is we did not have a major gaming run last bull run, which means we are overdue for that. Even with some of the gaming, right? So there's going to be, as long as the economy tokenomics are fixed with gaming. I think there's potential there. But with infrastructure, I think those are going to be um, there's going to be some moves there. At least that's what I'm anticipating. So we'll see. We'll see if that prediction comes true. But I am going to be heavily positioning myself for those gaming infrastructure plays. I think there's a big potential. So for me personally, it's an alpha. So I'm really excited, and I do want to thank YOM team as well today for sponsoring this live stream. We are going to continue our conversation. I do want to encourage you all to like and retweet, comment the stream. We want to get as many people up here as we can. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about the infrastructure side, the DePIN side of this as well. So when we talk about DePIN, there is an opportunity for people to be involved, not just like be the token holder, but actually become part of the ecosystem. So I want us to kind of dive into this. If let's say, so, and we want to make it super easy. We don't want to make it complicated. We want to keep it very simple for those community members who may not be very technical, but they want to be part of DePIN. They want to be part of the ecosystem. How can they get started? What is the ROI for them? If you can talk about that a little bit. And when I say ROI, I mean like being part of the DePIN infrastructure, because I know some community members, they are doing things like being involved very heavily with helium, for example. Some of them are working with their hardware devices and all of that. So how could we get involved with that?
Sure. Yeah, and we have the same mentality too. We want this to be as simple, and we have visions of you purchasing the device out of Walmart or on Amazon. We have to make it that simple. So what we have is that we make available an SSD with a specialized operating system that we've developed. It's really just plug and play. So when you have a gaming rig that sits idle during the day, you just plug this SSD into your drive. It takes over. So we never install any hardware on your system. All we do is we use this drive to run your GPU and CPU, and it hooks up to the network automatically. You scan in the code and you're live. Because again, like we're saying, like you're saying, we want to make sure that it's really simple for people to get involved. But at the same time, we wanted to really make sure that people weren't purchasing the device and finding out later that their hardware can't run it. So we did create an app that allows people who are curious to find out what they might be earning, what their possible revenue is going to be. We created an app that they go to the website, our website, and click on the app, and this will run a test on their hardware and check their bandwidth and these kinds of things. And then you can enter in some values like how many hours a day you expect to run or how many days a month you expect to run. And this will give you an estimate of how much you could be earning per stream per month. Now, depending on your hardware, you could run anywhere between 2 to 8 streams concurrently. And what we say is at saturation, when our network's at saturation, which for us is 60% usage of all the available bandwidth, at that 60%, each stream should be worth about $50 per stream. So if you can run multiple streams, that's how much per month you could be earning from your system. That's going to vary depending on the region that you're in, again, the amount of time that you want to leave it operational each month, and the hardware that you're running. So about the $50 per stream range, so anywhere from 100 to 400 is really kind of the area that people can fall into. All this is going to be, again, you should run the rig check. It's actually app.yom.net/rig check. It's very simple to get to if they're curious at all about earning passive income with their gaming rig. The upside of all of this is, as people are earning money with their gaming rig, which is, a big portion of this is passive income. We feel like this is going to be a way people make money in the new economy as the economy changes. That passive income that you earn, many people are going to be earning it. Many people who are earning it from their gaming rig. So they'll be spending that money back into the gaming industry, which again helps out our industry, which we're very incentivized to do. Or they're going to upgrade their hardware to make a better gaming rig, which automatically upgrades our network because now the network works faster. So it ends up being a loop that feeds itself, which we're very excited by. I missing any part of that equation?
I think so. You also had an AMA with some other guy that said, okay, there are only 2 narratives really surviving in the industry. It's DeFi and DePIN. I don't remember but Jeff had that call made. Yeah, but I think that's also like if you look at the economic value, if you look at okay, operators are earning. They're not earning by just farming in an artificial pool.
Right.
They're earning by providing economic utility, and I think that question is still not entirely solved in DePIN. If you look, because DePIN as it is a very strong narrative. It has a lot of potential. It has a lot of properties that can outcompete, let's say, centralized services. Same with DeFi, but it needs to be done well, right? So you need to focus really about, okay, where's the economic substance at? In the beginning of crypto, and blockchain is effectively also DePIN, right? So if you look at most successful DePIN use cases, is Bitcoin and is Ethereum. But in the beginning, everything was proof of work, right? And people were willing to pay the gas for the transactions because it meant something, right? It had economic substance. Mining had economic substance, work had economic substance, and transactions. But now the changes have become so fast, and everything has moved to a proof of staking model that the work part has gone. The economic value which was essential to the thesis of Bitcoin, has gone entirely out of the equation. So what we are left with is a lot of vaporware technology that is hyper competitive. So you have a lot of chains all doing that, and everyone lost sense of value, right? So and that's not only with blockchains. You also see that with other DePINs. So you had a lot of vanity DePINs where you had virtual nodes at some point, like virtual node. No, the whole point is that it's physical virtual nodes, which were basically farming pools, and you had. So some of them did go for a good narrative, let's say data narrative or an AI narrative. But then if you do the math, so the math is also important. If you do the math, the economic value is not strong enough, right? If you are a DePIN and you're relying your entire chain and your entire supply on some data getting sold on the other hand, that's not a very strong economic leverage that you can really build your network on. So going back to blockchains or going back to networks that have economic substance, I think is the crucial way for blockchain technologies in the crypto industry to evolve and go to the next phase. Up to that moment, it's just going to be vapor, right? Like, and
this is an area that you and I will sit and geek out about a lot. Really, it's about what the purpose of money is, what the purpose of value is, and tokens that transmit or translate real utility to value. That's really what we're talking about. He's right. Not every DePIN project is the same. But when you talk about GPU cycles being one of the hottest commodities, one of the most in-demand, sought-after commodities at this point because of AI and because of gaming as well. A system that deals to take that GPU cycle, and then for our sakes, we could also add in part of the value of what we're offering is proximity. Being close to where that compute is needed. When you add those two pieces together, you've got a real value chain, and that's kind of the important part of why we have so much confidence in what we're building.
We had a DePIN workshop as well not too long ago for my community where we kind of dived into different DePIN projects and how people can benefit from them, how we can be involved with some of them early on. One of the topics that was brought up was the tokenomics, because there are challenges, especially in Web3, whenever we have projects that have tokens that are tied to it. A lot of times the tokenomics are not the best. And then also the emission, there's emission rates, you have early investors that are getting their tokens. Then you're also rewarding people in tokens if they are participating in the infrastructure side of it. And once, of course, they get those tokens, they have to sell to be able to make money. So there is that constant sell pressure. And the utility side is not always very strong. And it seems like this is something that is impacting DePIN industry quite a bit. And there are discussions around it. There are people working on it actively. So I want to hear your take on how do you ensure that A, the tokenomics are strong, B, you do have a solid utility, if you can dive into that a little bit. And then 3, when people are becoming part of it, they're actually benefiting from it and not, losing. So would love for you to chime in.
Again, this is again where we talk about not every DePIN is equal, right? So when we looked at what we're going after, we said, well, first of all, are we going to create this infrastructure in a place where there's a need? And cloud gaming is expanding rapidly. You're already seeing like the stats I just read. 47% of people who play on cloud gaming only play on cloud gaming, and they're playing on a system that can't allow them to play the game otherwise. So there's already a roped-in market. And then over half of the people who are doing cloud gaming are playing cloud gaming more than once a day, right? So they're very active. So we know the market is there. That's part of it. So then how do you ensure that the token is not inflationary but deflationary? Well, we have a cap supply. And there's always a market for it because anybody who's going onto our network, any publisher or developer who's going onto our network is purchasing their network time, right? So the publishers who want to get on a cloud that's not expensive, they're purchasing network time. They pay in fiat, and we immediately convert that into YOM tokens. So we're buying
which is essential.
Right.
You see a lot of cheating in DePIN. Well, in crypto in general, when it comes to tokenomics, they say, "Oh yeah, we burn some tokens, right?" But then the burning happens not from the float; it happens from the treasury. So then it's an empty claim, right? Because you can create a lot of tokens in the treasury and then start burning them. Nothing happens. What we do is we pack that immediately to the DEX. So our payout function is pretty unique in the industry. There's no DePIN that has it like this. And it's pretty well thought of, because what happens is that all of our burning happens directly on chain, and it happens directly on the float. So there is no burning in any wallets that do not have any influence, let's say, on the activity. Now, you might be wondering, okay, if you're deflationary, when does it go to zero, right? Now, that's the other thing that we have, which is because we have that payout function tied with the DEXs, and because we have that anchor there anyways, we also said, okay, the payout should be expressed in USDC. Right? Mm-hmm. So we express the payout in USDC. That means independent from whether the token rises or falls, the operators would be protected. Now, it does mean that on smaller market caps, and depending, of course, on the size of the network, the burning effect will be larger. Which is very interesting. So then what you create is that the market cap, the FTV, gets anchored in the actual burning, just like Bitcoin, in the actual activity of the network itself. Now, we do expect, because in reality, if you look at any market, the amount of front running, the amount of trading is usually like 20 times higher, 30 times higher than the actual economic activity. So what we expect is, as we start to onboard more and more users and economic value to the network, that we will have an amplification of traders also front running all of that burning and all of that activity that will start to occur in the coming months on the network. So I think that's where it's all going to be at, right? It's really about identifying what is economic substrate, really. What's just like with fiat dollar used to be packed in gold, right? It had a hard substrate and had a hard value, and now it's fluid, right? Which works temporarily, just like a lot of things work temporarily if you make them fluid. But they are exactly like that. They're fluid. They're not anchored in longevity. And I think
they're not a real. It's not a real measure, right?
It's not a real measure.
If you can move it around however you want to, just by hitting a number on the keyboard, you're not really getting value.
This is also exactly the reason that a lot of the smart folks out there, they're flocking back to Bitcoin, because they realize that's where, like, that's proof of work. It's expensive, but that's the economics work. Now, the disadvantage of that, and people usually say, oh, you're skeptical about Bitcoin. No, that's the inverse. I think Bitcoin is essentially, that is the network we all need to be at. But the problem Bitcoin has, it gets outcompeted by faster chains. So it has a very hard time being competitive, let's say, as a chain itself. And then you lose the interest of miners. And then every Bitcoin halving, we know it gets like 99% of all rewards are sponsored right now, and that gets halved every 4 years. Well, how sustainable is that? So we need to think about where we are going with crypto and how we can put like real value back into the engines.
As I said, Yor and I could go on for hours about the purpose of crypto, and where it's broken and where it works. But I think we've done that. I mean, the reason I say we can go for hours is because he and I have done this when we designed our own tokenomics. We went for hours. We had very long meetings going over how do we structure this so that it's correct, not just following a trend, right?
I love that. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Now we had, so for those who are joining us, we did have a conversation right before we started about a possible demo, and we were basically going back and forth about it.
Sure.
So this is like, there was some fun stuff that happened in the background. Yorid claimed that, hey, I could do a demo because Jeff said he is in the mountains right now, so he may not have a very solid internet connection. And Yorid said, no, I got it. And as soon as we went live and we started with Yorid's introduction, his internet went off or something happened there.
To be fair, I can stream the games to my computer just fine. I just don't believe that streaming to my computer then back out to everybody else would run as smooth as we could do it. But this is it. It's as simple as this. We have, because our streams are very similar to the way that you would embed a YouTube stream to a URL. Again, this is the other added benefit to what we have for publishers and developers. It makes it super easy for people or for game developers to make their games accessible. Dropping it inside a Telegram or dropping it inside a Discord or using a platform like Walter, they're all very simple to do, and with the flexibility that we have with our network. So those developers who are looking to get people on board as fast as possible, which is the biggest hurdle that they have, dropping the link on a URL is a much easier process than it is to have someone download. Are you guys
seeing, by the way, the screen? Because I've been demoing the platform and I'm now in Skyrim. I'm not sure if it's visible.
It was. Yeah, you're good.
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay, perfect.
You can go ahead.
Well, you can see we have Elder Scrolls running. Skyrim can also work on your phone. Now, I do actually have some network latency, so I'm not in the best place. But for me personally, it's going really fast, independent from whether like that notification is there or not. So I can just move around, do everything. I can boot any game. I can exit this, go to a different. So this is on our partner website, right? So I can go out. I can boot this on a tablet. I can play Delta Police, another game, Touchdown Poker. We're working on Destiny, Dota, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto. So all of these will be deployed here. The platform itself is not live. So what you're seeing here is a demo of that, and there will be a smart TV app around that, just like with Netflix, so you can just start playing those games. Now, on the economics, every time you boot, so I'll just run that again, what we just did. I can also do a different game, but yeah, let's do Valley of the Ancients. So it's very simple. I just play. I'm now connected peer-to-peer with a machine. So settlement starts to happen. So this is already on-chain visible. Burning takes place. So 5 cents is now paid out to the operator. Now, you may wonder, okay, who's actually paying for this? So the payers are the platforms and the publishers, right? They get to decide for themselves how they want to monetize it. So this works completely flawlessly. So there's no lag whatsoever. I'm not sure if you can see that at the same time on your end, because I'm streaming it. I'm streaming the stream. But yeah, it's very fluid. So I can just go anywhere where I want. And then this runs right like this in the browser. And this works. This is the fastest cloud gaming network out there, right? So you can't go faster than this. It's 4K, super cheap compute. And we have about 40 different publishers also lined up to deploy on the network. One of our key team members is the founder of EDOS. So EDOS, you may or may not know, it's a pretty old school. They created Hitman and Tomb Raider. And a Thief. So he created all of these games, right? And he's in our team doing all of the outreach to all of the publishers, basically telling them, this is really exciting. You can do cloud gaming really cheap. So we're now with some of the, we can't mention them, but some of the publishers, we're in talks also with custom launchers, so they can put inside of their own smart TV launcher their own whole game collection, right? So they can deploy on our partner, they can deploy their own game collection, they can like. Ideally, of course, we have some sort of integration at some point with Disney or with Netflix or any of the other OTT providers. Because then that's a really easy win. But we also provide the SDKs and the infrastructure for every partner to deploy their own apps and their own streaming services on top. Let me also show you some other things. So we have keyboard integration. So you can type. So that's useful for when you're on the TV on my smartphone. Of course, I have a keyboard here. Now, like this is for controls. You see the controls also popping up. So this works then also on the mobile phones. Yeah, so this shows cases, and this is of course, and we're not building a game, but all of these are basically games that are running and producing, gas, producing burn on the network.
Gotcha. No, this is absolutely incredible. So if you all who are watching right now want to be involved with this, I definitely encourage you to go to app.yom.net to learn more about how you can be involved, how you can plug and play the Node devices, and how you can actually get going. It's pretty incredible. There are also some earning potentials and things like that that you could see over there, which is pretty neat. So yeah, definitely encourage you all to be involved with that as well. I'll be looking into it a little bit more, but love that. I see you have something else up here, Yuri. Do you want to go ahead and cover that?
This is more on the DePIN side, right? So what I just showed you was the partner portal, so Walter GG. So if you go to YOM.net, which is our infrastructure, you see most communication about the infrastructure. So this is about the yield, how much you can earn. We've got delegation as well. That is not live yet. So the go-to for people right now is really to order a nano device and participate. We have about 30 operators right now already on the test net. Well, we actually went to mainnet today with the token payout, but we haven't activated the nodes yet, so they're still running on the test net, but the payout functions are all live. What you can see here is you can actually see, okay, how much you are earning. This is like a quick overview. We have a more detailed solution if you run the rig check. So it will actually analyze your system and then say, okay, this is how much we expect you to make. And then you can order a Nano, and then you go to the Nano website. Well, sorry, the Nano, our partner portal website. They have a lot of DePIN gear here. Recommend them, very professional guys. And you can also browse ahead and look at other products, but we of course prefer you to look at this one. You can order as many as you want, so you can order 100, 200, but usually people start with one. If they have one gaming PC, you only need one. This is effectively an SSD with the flashed software on top. That means it's plug and play. You plug it into your PC. The booting happens. You see a QR code. You scan it, and it starts working. Right? It's really, really easy. If you say, "Oh well, I like this is like for normies, and I'm like a Linux export Ubuntu," yeah, we respect that. We also have the non-product version. You can also just run your own container, but then you need to run Linux. So for a mass audience, for example, the people around me, they will never run. Well, some of them will, but most people they will not run Linux. They want to just make money on the side, right? To plug it in, make some money. And I don't know why this is not more frequent, also, or more common in blockchains as well, like these kind of setups. But yeah, that's the question.
Love that. My husband, he loves Linux. I'm the Windows girl, so yeah, I've been Microsoft certified and all of that in another life. So yeah, my biases and my support lies with Microsoft products. Love this. No, thank you for going over that, Jeff. Anything that you want to add to this?
No, I think you did a good job covering it. Again, the whole concept is supporting the gaming industry by making it super easy for people to get to the games, support
Hmm.
and therefore making it easier for the publishers to find more players, and then putting the economy to work where it actually pays back the players who are going to then take that revenue that they've earned and put it back in the gaming industry or back into our network. That whole cycle there.
I love that. So it seems like we are going to be coming up to the end of the stream here very soon. Before we do that, I do want to give you both time to go over any alpha, anything, like what are some of your priorities for next year? I mean, it's
Yeah.
summertime, right? So summer is like whatever, like, go on vacations and all of that. Summer is not like we just take summer easy. Then, of course, you
Yeah.
have the fall and the holidays, and then the new year is going to be coming up before we know it. And we are going to be in 2027. So, what are some of your priorities over the next few months as we move towards the end of the year, and then some priorities for next year? Any alpha that you can share with us?
Yeah, so we've got a roadmap on the website with all of the details, but let me just go across all of the high level points. We're an open protocol. That means, of course, retail can contribute. They can already participate. We have the nodes going live at the end of the network, running on mainnet, shipping also happening at the same time. So we expect a lot of activity on socials from people like happy with all of the money that they made, taking screenshots of the streams, playing the games. So that's on the retail side. At the same time, on the BT side, because we're an infrastructure play, expect a lot of partnerships in the space. We've recently also partnered up with a massive chips manufacturer and logistics provider. They've also invested a very large sum of money into us because they see actually the chip industry going into that direction. This is traditional capital. We're in conversation with governments. So governments also investing because they see it as an opportunity in the energy sector, and also because, for example, Europe has to build its own IP, has its own GPUs. So we're in conversations with governments around that. We can expect also some announcements around that as well from any sort of investments or grants that we received. We are working because of open protocol, not only with retail, but also with larger Bitcoin mining farms, telecom providers, tier 1 telecom providers that are also on the brink of running our nodes. So that is a very massive sudden from 0 to 1. Suddenly we're running like lots of nodes everywhere, at least in Europe. So that's an announcement. On the token health side, obviously we're going to further push that. We're not you have a lot of Web 2, more like, let's say, projects that basically tell you, we're Web 2, like they pride themselves on that, and then they forget the whole Web 3 language and the token language. They forgot the tokenomics. They forgot that you need the hype and the marketing around it. We're very capable of speaking that language. You can see that also on our socials. You can see that in all of the gamifications that we're doing, all of the impact that we're making. So we're also expanding on that side, just to make this the biggest retail pragmatic network out there.
Love that. Jeff, anything from your side?
No, I think that it's if your audience is an investing audience, I think again, obviously they need to do their due diligence, but take a look at what's going on in the gaming sector, in the cloud gaming sector, how fast it's expanding. Take a look at the problems that the central server models are having. If you go to any Reddit thread that's got GeForce Now threads, you're going to find all the people who are dissatisfied with the experience. Though they love the idea of cloud gaming, that the current models aren't working for them. So they all know it. So I would say, become educated in that space, and then you're going to see right away that the real solution has to be decentralized. Again, I think since not all DePIN projects are equal, looking for ones that have a built-in market already is, I think, just wise advice.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yes, guys, I'm excited for what's coming up with YOM. Of course, we will have, this was like one of the DePIN Alpha for this year. Keep an eye on what this team is doing. Keep an eye on the technology. Definitely take a look at how you can be involved on the DePIN side, right? I'm not going to be here shilling you the token, but what I can tell you is the tech is phenomenal. Take a look at it for sure. So I encourage you to look at it. Also, want to talk briefly about Onicorn, which was the platform where there was an IDO for YOM. Obviously, because of the markets right now, not a lot of people are interested in IDO. It's pretty much across the board. That's what's happening. And um, what I will say is that Unicorn team did pick a pretty big team to be partnered with for their first IDO. And usually the first IDOs always get a lot of love and care from the platform. So there's that. But definitely keep an eye on Unicorn as well to see what they're coming up with, because that's what I found this alpha. And it was mind blowing to see the results. It wasn't just a talk, right? I mean, it's not theory about, oh, we are gonna do this 5, 10 years from now. And that's not what it is. There's tech that's available and it's working, and you can be involved in it. You can be part of that ecosystem already. And so that is super important. And as we go into this end of the bear market, which is coming up here very soon, I know markets are awful today, but we've been ready for this, right? We've talked about it, but markets are going to be bottoming out very soon, and that would be the time to go alpha hunting. And it is right now, in my opinion, time to go alpha hunting, and then making a list of projects that we want to be involved in any way, shape, or form. And so YOM is definitely going to be one of my top deepen picks. Um, and so definitely we'll be keeping an eye on them and see how everything shapes up. Big congratulations again on your listings today. That was pretty incredible. And also, I want to applaud you. Like, you guys launched, and right now the markets are not the best. A lot of teams are shying away from it. You guys are like, hey, you know what? We don't care. We're going in. We're going right in. Our technology is live. We are doing what we can, and yeah, we're going to continue to build regardless of the market conditions. So bravo.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. That's like, of course, we check out the market conditions, of course, because we need to think about that. But in the end, okay, people, like, in the end, if you're launching, let's say, in a bull market, then these people will also flock out the moment it becomes tough, right? So in the end, it
Exactly.
doesn't really
Yes.
matter too much. And it is as it is. And we're well funded on the equity side, so we also don't really need to make any money out of it. We just look at it and say, like, let's see how people respond to this. And the network is live, and the operators are live, and we're deploying the games, and that's it. And yeah, it's we're pretty unbothered by it, to be honest. Yeah.
I love that. And you guys were mostly, when you were doing your fundraising rounds, they were mostly equity rounds, correct, Yuri?
Yeah, a lot of equity rounds, grants, public sector. So yeah, it's especially now with AI, it's so easy to build so much moat out there. Like the amount of so in the time when we had no AI, we've basically developed some of our key IP and built some patents around it, right? But to actually bring a patent to market, it's a lot of work. You need like the science around it. But like the entire patent, we managed to deploy 3 approved patents, and we're now working on a 4th one just to enlarge that mode. And it's pretty substantial. If you check out the type of patents that we have, it's pretty crazy, especially the 4th one that we're working on is going to really revolutionize how decentralized networks participate in the GPU game, also beyond gaming, because this has impact on let's say AI as well, but we keep it at that.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for that as well, Yorit. But yeah, this was an incredible stream. I do want to appreciate both of you for joining in today with me. And also, we will be bringing you both back over the next few months just to kind of get some updates on where we are at as the markets bottom out. I'll be keeping an eye on your tech and how it shapes up and everything. I want to wish you both all the best. Big congratulations once again for your successful TGE and some major listings today as well. And also, everybody just want to make sure that you are aware that we have FOMO Friday coming up over the next few hours. So there's going to be a lot of spaces this morning, lots of stuff, live streams, all of that. So tune in again at 10 a.m. PST for a FOMO Friday. We will be going over the markets and what's happening and where we are positioning ourselves. So definitely don't forget to join us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much, Yorit. Thank you, Jeff. And thanks to YOM team for sponsoring the live stream today. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. You've been a great host, Ra, Lady Trader, Ra. I'll just say it like that. And yeah, let's see if we can get on future streams. We'll probably stay connected. And yeah,
yes.
Any questions from the community? We're also there to answer those.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure that you are liking the page, right? Follow YOM official. It's YOM_official. That's their Twitter handle. So make sure that you're following them. The team does spaces and things like that as well. So make sure that you join in, be involved there. Take a look at the hardware, guys. Look at the tech that they're building. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.